organ system in your body is your heart in?
Yeah.
Say about that.
So that would be the cardiovascular system, also called the circulatory system. Also, I think sometimes it's called the vascular system. The cardiovascular system is composed of a few different parts. So you've got the heart, obviously, but then you also have all of your veins and arteries, and I'll talk in just a minute about the difference between veins and arteries. But then I thought I'd also mention, included in the circulatory system is the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is another system of sort of tubes, essentially, sort of like your veins and arteries, that transport this fluid called lymph around your body, and so I'll also talk just a little bit about that. But if we could jump to my screen really quick. This is just sort of a simple diagram that shows the pathway of different veins and arteries running throughout a human body. You can see the heart right there in the center. And we tend to think of the heart as a pumping muscle, as a sort of key muscle that helps to pump all of this blood through your circulatory system. And so the question that's sort of begged here is, why do you need blood to run through your system? And there's a few reasons for that. The key number one reason is that the blood is your transporter of oxygen and sugar around your body to your different cells. So you can see in this diagram here, we have blue and red tubes represented. So the red tubes should represent the arteries here, and the blue tubes should represent the veins that we have. And the reason for that is that the red tubes are supposed to represent blood that's being carried out to your body that's oxygenated. Whereas the blue tubes are supposed to represent veins that are carrying blood back to your heart and lungs to be re-oxygenated. And I talked in my last answer, this actually kind of connects really well with the last question I was talking about. I talked about this idea that heterotrophs need oxygen to burn sugar, and that is the reason that we need to breathe oxygen. One of the things I love to bother my students with this question, I will sometimes ask them, do we need to breathe oxygen? And they'll say, yes, obviously we need to breathe oxygen. And I'll ask them why. And they'll just say, because we need oxygen to live. And the question is, why? Like, what does oxygen do for us? Why can't we just subsist without oxygen? Is there any good reason why you have to take this gas through your body? And I think that we don't think about it sometimes, but the reality is, oxygen is this thing that allows carbohydrates in your body to be burned. We talk about it as burning, but allows carbohydrates to essentially be broken down and for the chemical energy held in their bonds to be released. So in any case, I was going to show, I've got it here somewhere, just a diagram of the heart. Briefly, you can see, so again, veins are what carry deoxygenated blood to the heart. You can see here we've got the superior vena cava, which is the largest vein in your body. It's superior in this sense because it's above the heart. Down here we've got the inferior vena cava, not because it's less important, but because it's below. And you can see the flow of blood from both of these areas. They flow into the right atrium. We have flow out to the pulmonary artery from here, then back from the pulmonary artery through the pulmonary vein into the left atrium, and then through your aorta. Your aorta is your largest artery in your body. And again, the job of arteries is to carry oxygenated blood to your body, to all the cells in your body for use. I found this really cool little animated GIF. I hope you guys can see that. I can kind of blow it up a little bit here. This describes a faster cycle of blood flow than actually happens. But what this shows is it shows a human here, and you can probably barely see this, but there's a light traveling around his body, which is supposed to represent this blood cell flowing through the entire body. And what you can see here on the left is the carbon dioxide and oxygen level. So let's see, I'll start. Okay, so right now, the deoxygenated blood cell is traveling back to the heart and lungs to be reoxygenated. It's full of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the byproduct of burning sugar. At the heart and lungs, the carbon dioxide is released and breathed out. Oxygen is pumped back in, and it's carried away. And you can see this deforming that's happening of the blood cell. That happens both when the blood cell gets to its final destination and when it gets to its when it reaches the lungs, and that's because in both locations, the blood cell has to be squeezed into a very tiny tube called a capillary. So capillaries are veins and arteries. They're the thinnest examples of our veins and arteries, and they're just wide enough to let one blood cell through at a time, or they're like the thickness of one blood cell. So what you see at the ends of each of these is the blood cell being sort of deformed as it's forced through that really tiny capillary. And interestingly, something that you learn in biology is that all the cells in your body contain your DNA, but in fact, your blood cells don't contain your DNA, at least most of them don't. They do when they start out, originally they do, and blood can still be tested for DNA, but the average blood cell does not have DNA inside of it because it's jettisoned the DNA, it's actually taken it and kicked it out along with a lot of other stuff so that it can just focus on its primary job of carrying oxygen around your body. That's really what our red blood cells are for there. So yeah, anyways, a little bit of a long-winded explanation, some extra information there, but the heart is part of the cardiovascular system.